Hey, yo, what up? And this is Worst to Least Worst presented by HoopsFYI. And today we're going to do a mid-season review of each team, division by division, going over records and stats, and how each team ranks within their division and league statistically. In today's review, we're going to take a look at the Southwest Division. Before we jump into the review, make sure you bless the page by clicking the subscribe button, pull up a seat, grab a drink, a snack, join us on our other media outlets, TikTok, Instagram, and become a member at hoops.fyi. And be sure to get in the comments section to voice your thoughts. All right, let's do a brief overview of the Southwest Division. The teams in the Southwest Division collectively have a record of 120 wins, 155 losses, for a win percentage of .436. That places them among all divisions in the West last and second to last among all divisions in the league. The teams in the division are the Dallas Mavericks, the Houston Rockets, the Memphis Grizzlies, formerly known as Vancouver Grizzlies, the New Orleans Pelicans, and the San Antonio Spurs. They are last in the league in teams in playoff position with 2, and one of those teams are in the playoff game position. The last place team in the conference is in this division. Only one team in this division is top 5 in offensive ratings in the conference. The 2 lowest offensive ratings in the conference come from this division, and 3 of the bottom 5 in offensive ratings in the conference come from this division. They have 2 teams in the bottom 5 in the defensive ratings in conference, but on the flip side, they have 2 teams in the top 5 in defensive ratings in the conference. And now we get into ranking the teams from the Southwest Division. Coming in at number 5, we have the San Antonio Spurs with a record of 11 and 45 for a win percentage of 196. That ranks them 15th in the conference or last in the Western Conference. Now, they've had a pretty rough season so far. Good thing is they just got what could potentially be the future of the NBA or even the future of the sport. But right now they are going through a lot of growing pains. And one of the things that signifies the pains that they've been going through is earlier in the season, they recorded an 18-game losing streak, which is their franchise record. When it comes to offense, the Spurs have an offensive rating of 109, placing them 4th in the division. They also score an average of 112 points per game, which also places them 4th spot in the division. A positive, they lead the division in assists per game and is second in the entire league, averaging 29.45. However, with the losing record, there are low areas. They rank low in the league, coming 27th in field goal percentage at 46%. Equally low is their three-point percentage. They rank last in the division and 30th in the league at 34%. They also rank last in the division and 28th in the league in turnovers at 14.21 per game. Defensively, they hold a defensive rating of 117.5, ranking 5th within the division. They are also last in the division and 25th in the league for points allowed per game at 120.55. Furthermore, they allow teams to shoot 49.2% of their field goal attempts and 38.5% of their three-point attempts, ranking last in the division and 24th and 26th in the league, respectively in those categories. However, because of Wemby, they make a lot of noise in the shot blocking category, ranking in the top 5 in the league at 4th with an average of 6.05 blocks per game. And coming at number 4, we have the Memphis Grizzlies. Now, looking at the Memphis Grizzlies coming out of the break, they had a record of 20 games with almost twice as many losses at 36. So they were 20 and 36. That gives them a .357 winning percentage, placing them 13th in the Western Conference, just maybe 3 spots away from the play-in game. In terms of offense, they have an offensive rating of 107.7, which places them in last place, 5th within the division. They are scoring 107.07 points each game, ranking last in the division and last in the league at 30th place. Their field goal percentage is 44.1%, which is also the lowest within the division and second to last in the league at 29th place. As for three-point percentage, they're in the bottom 5 of the league at 29th with a 35% success rate. And they managed to seize 9.86 offensive rebounds per game on average, which places them last in the division and 23rd in the league. Now, turning over to the defensive side, their defensive rating stands at 113.5, putting them in 3rd place in the division. They allow an average of 113 points per game, ranking second within the division. However, they average only 31.82 defensive rebounds per game, placing them last in the division and 25th in the league. They also average 41.68 rebounds per game, ranking them last in the division and 25th in the entire league. The good, they average 6.16 blocks per game, which ranked them first in the division and third in the entire league. And moving on to number 3, we have the Houston Rockets. The Rockets came out of the break with a record of 24 wins and 31 losses, netting a win percentage of .436. This puts them in the 12th place in the Western Conference, which is a couple of spots before the play-in game. Offensively, the Rockets had an offensive rating of 113.2, ranking them third in the division. They score an average of 113.18 or .2 approximately points per game, which also ranks them third in the division. They have a little more strength in the offensive rebound category with an average of 11.05 per game. That's first in the division and 10th in the league. However, they rank 27th league-wide in three-point shooting percentage at 35.2 and in assists per game at 24.85. Defensively, the Rockets are tied for first place in the division and third in the conference with a defensive rating of 112.7, allowing an average of 113 points per game, which places them second in the division. They are holding opponents to a shooting percentage of 46.2%, first in the division and fifth in the league. They are also third in the league in opposing three-point shooting percentage at 34.8%. The Rockets are first in the division and fifth in the league in rebounds per game at 45.67, and they are first in the division and fourth in the league in defensive rebounds per game at 34.62. However, they average only 4.4 blocks per game, which lands them last in the division and damn near last in the league at number 26. And now moving on to the number 2 team in the Southwest Division, we have the Dallas Mavericks. The Mavericks come out of the break with a solid record of 33 wins and 23 losses for a winning percentage of .589. That positions them 6th place among all teams in the Western Conference. On the offensive side, they hold an offensive rating of 117.5, putting them at the top of their division and 5th in the conference. Their average points per game was at 118.73, making them the leading team in the division and 7th across all teams in the league. Plus, they're the top team in the division and 7th in the whole league in terms of fewest turnovers at 11.98 per game. Moving on to defense, however, the Mavericks had a rating of 116.2, which places them 4th within the division. They're also ranking 4th in the division when it comes to points allowed per game with an average of 117.16. And in terms of stealing the ball or thieving the ball, they're at the bottom of the division and 25th in the league with an average of only 6.67 steals per game. And now moving on to the number 1 team, we have the New Orleans Pelicans. The Pelicans leave the break with a solid record of 34 wins and 22 losses for a win percentage of .607. That places them 5th in the Western Conference and 1 spot above Dallas. Now, when it comes to offense, they have a rating of 117.2, placing them 2nd within the division. They're also putting up an average of 116.64 points each game, which also places them 2nd in the division. They're leading the division in field goal percentage with 48.9%. which is also 9th in the entire league. They're also leading the division with 3-point percentage of 37.7%, which is also 8th best in the league. On the defensive end, they share the top spot in the division and are 3rd in the conference with a defensive rating of 112.7. They do a really good job of keeping teams from scoring, allowing only an average of 112.09 points per game. This is the lowest in the division, 3rd lowest in the conference, and 8th lowest across the league. They are also really tough on 3 points against, allowing only 34.6%, which is best in both the division and the league. Plus, they come up in the theft category, averaging 8.54 steals per game, which leads the division, and it comes in 2nd in the league. Alright, that's it. Thank you for listening to this episode of Worst to Least Worst by HoopsFYI. And that's it for the Southwest Division. Before you get up out of here, remember to hit the subscribe button, like, voice your opinion in the comment section, and follow us on TikTok and Instagram. And subscribe to the community at hoops.fyi. Until next time, peace.